Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL Don't Panic. It's 7:15 a.m. here in New Zealand. Coffee. So as most of you know, it's been something of a disaster over the last few game weeks for me. Yeah, it is what it is. You make decisions and you make your bed and you lie in it. Now I need to get out of bed and try and sort out some of the issues that I have created myself. Bad decisions. Justify them in my head, the various hits and things. Some of them worked, but the majority of them did not. And fundamentally what I did, I think is very, very nicely set up. Just as few as 4 or 5 game weeks ago. Hitting the 70 points that I aimed for very nicely, just sitting barely outside the top 100k. Saka injury came in and I started fiddling. It just would have been just one simple move, Saka to an Mbeumo or someone like that, and would have been sorted, and I would have still been ticking along nicely. Fortunately, we did things like bringing in Van Dijk and then moving him out almost immediately for Trent, because I got the Trent FOMO. Watkins hit kind of worked a little bit, but not really, because now I've got the issue now that obviously Watkins is likely to get rotated again or have limited minutes with Duran coming back. Number of things. There's no point going through them. It's what's done is done. Question becomes now is how do we put them right? So this video is going to be a little bit long and rambly, and it is definitely going to be my inner monologue working here a lot. But hopefully there's something useful in it for you guys. So what we're going to do is just going to sort of think through the next 5 game weeks and sort of what moves will be. I really have thought about hitting the wild card and just sorting the shit out. Maybe when at the end of this video I might think, you know what, I'm going to do it. I don't think that will be the case. But we're going to just go on a little journey here, and we're going to start out by looking, as you know, I do sort of every 4 or 5 weeks, as I sort of set out my next 5 game weeks. I work in 5 game weeks. I do the 5 game weeks. What's my strategy? Transfers, etc. Then I do another one. So what we're going to do in this one, we're going to take a look at the top 50. I like to do that every 4 or 5 weeks, just as I'm about to set out my next 5 game week strategy. Just have a look at what the leaders are doing, sort of what the teams are shaping up, what are the shifts in dynamics, etc. So we'll do that first. Then I'll do a quick run through on how these last 20 blocks of 5 game weeks have gone, what has worked for me and what clearly hasn't. And then we're going to do sort of a little bit of if I was wildcarding, if I was sort of, we'll actually take an actual look at my squad as it is, and how far away am I from where I want it to be. And so we'll be actually having a look at sort of ideal defence, midfield, and strikers, of course. So without further ado, let's have a little look at the top 50. Well, it's been too long on it. I have had a brief look earlier, without actually going in depth into any of the teams. Let's pop this stuff up there. I think that should work for the various switching around I need to do. Okay, let's have a look here. So this was the first thing that obviously jumped out at me when I took a quick look earlier. It's a sea of change again. Let me just scroll down there for you guys. See there, literally, this is the first time I've seen this in a few weeks, and I think this is a result of the Saka injury. So we had a period of time there where things had stabilised. There was a template, there was a clear template, which was clearly the Salah, Saka, Palmer. Everyone had them, and then there was a fairly sort of everyone had an Arsenal defender and a couple of cheapies. And then up front, you had people that obviously had their Isaks, etc. But it had stabilised, and there wasn't like the sea of change we're seeing again since the Saka injury. It broke the template. So teams are very, very different now. And if you get lucky, or if you've actually made really good decisions, which I haven't, and a lot of other people have, you're shooting up that table again. So it's been very, 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 very dynamic again, the changes. So as we can see there, massive change in the top 50 this time around. So you see there at number 1 has managed to hang on by the skin of its teeth to top spot, but actually has about the same points as I scored this week. So we'll have a look at to see what sort of teams there. But obviously, you know, teams are coming through. So sea of change. Look at we'll have a quick look at maybe at the top 5 and some of those big scores that have come in, and then we'll actually have a look. Actually, saying that, let's have a look at some of those that are dropping down. And again, seeing some scores, they're very similar to my own. You know, 53, 67s, 63 there, 54. That's even lower than me. It's poor little me down there at the bottom. So let's have a look at one of the lower scores that was obviously very high last week and has dropped down. And obviously, as I say, there's going to be even worse than this, obviously, because many of them have dropped off this table completely. But 57, what's the structure there? Well, yeah, expensive defenders with a couple of the lower cost ones. Is the first thing we see there, and that is pretty much where I'm at, probably even more so. And then, yeah, not bad punts there still in the midfield. Midfield still did quite well for them there. Foden, would I be going Foden? No, I would not. No, I would not. And up front, yeah, you know, reasonably typical Wood, Isak, Jackson type thing. Played with a 4-3-3 this week, and same as me, left point on the bench with Ahmad. Let's have a little look at the old game week history. I always find that interesting for these people in the top 50, because what we usually find is they're all doing the thing with very few, if any, hits. Taking a few, but not for a wee while there. Obviously, yeah, okay, yeah, it's probably similar to me looking there. Just having a wee bit of a panic there when Saka got injured, and trying to do tweaks and working out what to do. So I'm not sure that's a pattern, but does I think does say something, doesn't it? So I bet we find that the ones that are at number 1 did not take hits. So I'm actually just going to go off of this table, because obviously these guys in here, but with that sea of greens coming in, it'll be interesting to have a look at the next page. Yeah, so there's a few more there that have a few more of the reds there that have dropped out of that top 50, dropping in there, but a lot of change in there as well. Let's just have a look at some of these. There's Peppa Pig, because I know Peppa was right in there. Right, whoa, what have I done there? Here we go. I know Peppa was well in that top 50 not so long ago. So there again, we see we've got the expensively type defenders there. Yeah, great choice with Sells and goal, has to be said. Iwobi, never convinced by the Iwobi choice myself, but these will have obviously been changed. I would imagine to come in after the Saka injury, or following a punt, fair play, but it hasn't worked. Salah Palmer, Liverpool midfielder, still got João Pedro in there, fair play to keeping that one in. Evan Nielsen, interesting, and Isak, and yeah, relatively stock standardy bench, I suppose. Yeah, I think the thing that's jumping at me there is the expensive defenders. Going the expensive defenders and it just not working, and obviously not getting the clean sheets. We'll have a quick look at the a couple of teams in the top. In the top 5, might as well start with the good old number 1. Now, listen, some of the stats I like to look at, and these may be useful to you, but as you know, I try for that average of 70 a week. Not achieving it at the moment, but I do believe if I get anywhere close to that, it should get me well entrenched in the top 100k. I'm off that at the moment. So just for some numbers there, at the moment, if you are sitting on 1,310 points, you should be, or more, you'll be at 100k or above, and that is an average of 65. So 1,310 points, you should be just about sitting on the 100k, and if you're above that, you should be nicely within the top 100k. That is an average of 65 points. I'm actually on 1,266 points, and that's a 63 average. So as an average, it's not far off the mark to try and get me, but obviously we need to claw that back on a week by week basis. I need to be hitting, well, I want to be hitting the 70s to be comfy, but for the rest of the season to get back in there, I'd need to be, 65 or more. And I say more probably because what we're going to have obviously played in this second half of the season, people are going to be playing chips now. So it is a bit of an anomaly. It is actually higher than it was last year, but we've got this anomaly of Salah hauling almost week in, week out, and people having the captain's armband on him most week. That is actually pushing the averages up. I mean, as an example, the leader at the moment, as you can see, there is on 1,486 points, which is an average of just over 74. Now, this time last year, the leader's average was just on the 70. But in the second half of the season, when we obviously had people playing the triple captains, bench boost, a couple of double game weeks, that moved up to 74 points by the end of the season. So I'd expect something similar. So although my projections normally would have been to say that the winner would have got about 70, would have finished on about 73 points, which I think is roughly where it was last year. I think it'll be higher this year, especially if Salah keeps hauling. And we're, as I say, the leader is already on an average of 74. At this stage last year, that was just 70. So just something for your own sort of notes. And if you're sort of looking at your own averages, what you're averaging, and feeling that you maybe, to give you an idea of whether you need to step up, because I'm sure most of us are trying to be 100k, and I'm sure some of you that have been playing the game a lot longer are a lot better than me, because this is really the first year I've played it seriously. And anyway, seriously, you'll probably be aiming for finishes a lot higher than that. So just a couple of number notes for you there. So to my mind, I need to be getting back towards that 70 average, which I was achieving quite nicely not too long ago. Let's have a look at number one anyway. Let's have a look at number one. Erin, who has hung on by the skin of her teeth with a 48. So again, we're seeing that expensive defence, and as I say, Erin's just barely hung on in there. In fact, that defence is almost exactly the same as mine. Pickford, Trent, Gabriel, Konza. Konza's one of my bench players, but it's so similar. And they obviously went with a 4-4-2 this week, which clearly did not work. I nearly went 4-4-2 myself, but I decided to take the hit instead, which also did not work. Although I say that, I didn't take the hit for Wood, did I? Wood was a straight transfer. Trent was the hit. If I'd just done that, it would have been a lot better week. Is what it is. Yeah, bringing in the Martinelli, I will assume, for the Saka a few weeks ago. Clearly not working. Okay-ish, I suppose he's returned in the last two. Salah, Palmer, stock standard stuff there. And Isaac, and went with the Watkins punt as well. Hey, maybe I'm not that mad. This is not a million miles away from some of the decisions that I made that didn't work. It's a game of fine margins, isn't it? I could have actually had a decent game week, I suppose. Think about it. Pickford was so close to having a clean sheet. Isaac could have had another goal. There's a couple of this game of fine margins. It's a game of what ifs, isn't it? But the thing is, my what ifs did not. They was not. So, yeah. And I think that's one of the key things. And I think we'll also find, we'll have a just look at game week history here. Despite the drop off, I know what I will see when I just go to the game week history. And pound to a penny, she's taken no hits. There you go. Yeah. Got to really stop taking those hits, haven't I? Just does not work. Not a single hit across the season. Bad game week, but still sitting at number one. Yeah. Got to stop that foolishness, haven't I? And I think that is obviously something. This next 5 game weeks, famous last words. No hits. I'm going to play myself out of this mess I've created. But yeah, no, fair play. She's hung on there at number one, even despite a bad game week. Just is trying to play through it with maybe some of the team challenges that she has. I think you can probably see those team challenges rising now. over the last few game weeks, and similarly, I think to me, since Saka's gone out, I think there's a few bad decisions in there, but still hanging on to number one and trying to play a way out of it with sensible transfers as opposed to taking 4-point hits and things like that. Okay, and let's have what's probably more interesting is the ones that are have obviously taken a big leap up the table. All right, let's have a look at the seniors. Yeah, good solid goalkeeping choice. Still got not powerful goalkeeper. Not the greatest defensive performance, and pretty much the same defense as me in terms of Trent and Gabriel, and then the more cheaper defender, Robinson Hall. So I wouldn't say that's too different from what I have. There you have it. Stuck with Mbeumo. That was a game changer last week, wasn't it? Really, really was. Diaz, where I've got Gakpo, Palmer, Salah, as expected. Kept the faith with João Pedro, didn't panic with that. He's coming in, he's obviously returned. Lucky, in my opinion, some lucky returns. Wizard, I mean that was my front line not too long ago. João Pedro, Wizard and Isak, and stuck with it. Patience. And look at those lovely numbers. A lesson there for me, I think. I've learned from the mistakes of the past. I'm certain I can repeat them all again perfectly. Okay, just have a little look again. I know what I'm going to see here when I go into game week history. Yeah. One hit. Way down there. Game week 14. Yeah. Chips used. Yeah. Just a wild card and the free hit. Okay. Yep, so all nicely set up for the second half of the season. We'll take a look at one more. I was expecting to see, I'm not, a more propensity towards having a Gabriel and maybe then having an Aina, Munoz, a Castagna, a Mikalenko. I was kind of expecting to see that, but not really so far. Let's have a look at Snoop Udoggy Dog. I like that name. 80 points. Good, solid game week score. Sells. They've all got sells. Should have gone sells. I'm happy with Pickford. He's going to be right up there at the end of the year. Gabriel and Trent. Okay. I was not expecting that, if I'm being honest. Milenkovic, absolutely. Milenkovic is so on my shopping list. I think I like Milenkovic above Aina. We'll have a look at them. Mbeumo, Palmer, Salah, Sarr, and Semenyo. It just shows you the fine margins, doesn't it? Just a couple of players come in and it makes a big difference, because I actually don't like a lot of this team. Isak Wood, yeah, well, I say like a lot of it. I've got Isak and Wood. Semenyo's not doing it, is he? He frustrates. I keep thinking, I'll bring in Semenyo. Look at the fixtures. Look at the expected goals. Look at the expected assists. I like him and I don't like him. He will haul one day, but I just think there's better options than Semenyo at the moment. Similarly, Sarr, not convinced by Palace. I think I'd go Eze over Sarr if I was going to go there. Salah, Palmer, absolutely want Mbeumo back. Just not going to make that mistake again. I want him back, and I want him back as soon as I can. But I'm just continually surprised. I'm not seeing defences that I expect that would have actually moved up there. So maybe that is where I was over the next 5 games. I was thinking of a complete move out and a stripping down of the defence and just keeping Gabriel and moving, as I say, more into that Aina, Munoz, Castagna, Milenkovic, etc., and then really pumping money into the midfield strikes. I still might do that, but I'm going to be, as I say, not doing this in hits. I'll be doing it, I think, more in a controlled manner. Famous last words. Okay, I'm going to go one more. I've got to find someone there with a cheapy defence, surely. One more. Um, right, number 5, 78. Nice little solid 78 there. Those are the sort of scores I want to be aiming for on a weekly basis. And it's Trent and Gabriel. I wonder I had FOMO. I wonder I bloody FOMO. They've all gone. Okay, Sanchez in goal. Kirkes, great choice. I spoke about Kirkes a few weeks ago. Really good pick, Kirkes. A really good pick. I'm going to write him down actually. I should add him into my shortlist again because he fell off my shortlist. I'm not sure why. But yeah, I guess you could say there, yeah, it's two cheapies in there. Went with a 4-4-2 with two cheapies, and one of those cheapies come through. In fact, his cheapie Kirkes outscored the rest of his defence combined. And then yeah, Mbeumo there to cause me pain. Palmer, Salah, as one would expect, and Isaac, Watkins, Wood, who I've got all three of those at the moment. Such a game of fine margins, isn't it? If I just had one or two other players come through, it could have been such a different score. And that's where it's at. Don't think, to coin the phrase, don't panic. Your team is actually pretty decent. It's just been some bad luck the last couple of weeks. Tweak, don't rebuild. Okay, let's have a look at what I could do. So there's the squad as it stands. So where would I make changes if, let's say, if I was going to make changes, and who are the players that interest me the most? Pickford's going nowhere. It's my set and forget keeper now. I've made my bed. I'm going to line this one. I'm just going to let him roll and roll and roll. Everest defence, save points. There is always a decent chance of some save points and a clean sheet, I think, against pretty much anyone. There's also a chance of the odd hammering as well for Everton as well. But, he's a proven entity, Pickford. I think he might have been number one last year. Started off slow this year. Dyke's got them going again, not conceding too many goals and getting decent runs of clean sheets. I've just got to go with that now. Have I got a little bit of Sells jealousy? Yes. Do I wish I'd gone there? Yes. But I didn't. Pickford will come through, I think. I hope. Gabriel's going nowhere. I think he will ultimately be my just my premium, and I do expect that he will get me some goals and that Arsenal will start to get a run of clean sheets. So I'm definitely keeping him. So the other one that I'm happy with going nowhere would be Hall. Yeah, just 100% happy with Hall. The numbers are there. Unfortunately, I have been benching him and not playing him consistently, and I have missed out on so many points there. Not making that mistake again. Hall will play most fixtures, I think, for me now, and has got some, some decent fixtures coming up. Who would I take out? And again, I know it just compounds the error. I would probably take out Trent. There's obviously all the Real Madrid chat that's going on at the moment. May have unsettled him a bit. I think there may be some rotation risk there as well. Unfortunately, Bradley is back. I think Slot will want to give Bradley some game time because ultimately he will be Trent's replacement if he does go, whether it's in the transfer window now, in the January transfer window, or whether it's in the summer. I think Trent will be going, and I think that's going to create some uncertainty around his current minutes, and also, needing to bring Bradley into that role. And Bradley's a decent player. I like him. Would I be transferring him now? No, of course not. There's definitely be rotation risk there. But if I was to get rid of someone, then of course it would free up money. So let's say we took out Trent. Now, I really like Milenkovic. And Aina's, if we look over, Aina's sitting on at top of the charts at the moment with 95 points, but he's 5.2 million. Milenkovic is 4.8 million and 83 points. And I don't think Milenkovic has had as much game time this season as Aina, so he could well be up with him. I'm just make sure we can see this. I'm going to make myself a wee bit smaller there so we can actually. There you go. You don't need to see me. That should do it. I really like Milenkovic. He's a big target man. Numbers there. He has returned, obviously, some of these have been clean sheets and some of them have been attacking returns, but 6, 6, 6, 6, 9, 7. What would I have given for those numbers? What would I have given? I've been talking about Milenkovic for a wee while. You guys know that. Why didn't I do it? Because I went with my strategy of premium defenders. It has not worked. That would have given me, you know, if you think in terms of if I had him instead of Trent or anyone really, you know, Timber, anyone. Timber brought in some reasonable numbers, but yeah, really good numbers there. You know, and there were certainly returns through the season as well. Actually, no, he's been a 90-minute man. He's been a 90-minute man, to be fair, for pretty much the whole season. So that's obviously what we do want to see. And the fixtures for Forest, it's mixed. Liverpool home. No, I'm not making these transfers now. This I'm thinking about the next. This is the next 5 game weeks. But I think he could well be the person I would actually bring in for the next fixture. Southampton home. That could potentially be, because one, great fixture obviously. Secondly, frees me up a bundle of cash. So that, I think, strengthens the team instantly. Gives me a really good fixture at Southampton. And then we've got Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham. Then they get tricky. But I get them for those reasonable fixtures. We obviously get that great Southampton fixture, and it instantly frees up some money for me for what I think could potentially be my next move. Might not quite get me there. We'll have a look in a second. So we'll assume, yeah. I mean, I've been talking about him for a while, so that would be bring him in there. Look at that, lovely 3 million there. Okay. There are other defenders that I'm very, very interested in. Timber. Now this would not be. This would be in a few weeks' time. I think, as I say, I've got to do this in a staged basis. The next move I'd wanted to be doing would be to actually further strengthening of the midfield, and I think I'll have just about enough to go where I want to go. But I think the other move would be that Timber would ultimately leave the team, and that I think I'd be going Castagna, to be honest with you, because I'd be going for a fairly. You know, I'm looking to strip some money out for what I want to do further up the team. I'm going to leave Timber there for now, but the ones that would be on the cards for me would be Castagna or Munoz. But the defence that would be going out for me on a pretty much a week by week basis, but just maybe a little rotation here and there with a Munoz or Kirkes, which again frees up you know, about $1 million or so for me. Let's say will be you know, Gabriel, Milenkovic, and Hall. But I want to see how I can build this over the next few game weeks without taking hits. So that's great. That's done. So, Mbeumo, can I get to him? I think I can. Who would go? And it would have to be Enzo. I think Ahmad at his price point. But what are Mbeumo's fixtures like? There's 2 options here. Okay, obviously he has been, you know, when did I take him out? I think it was in this, in this period here, I think. And then, of course, he comes in with all these beautiful numbers here. Is what it is. So yeah, I think he definitely needs to come back, but it's don't look great, does it? So I don't think that would be where we'd go instantly. In the next week or 2. Feels to me the entry point for Mbeumo will be right at the end of the probably around 24, I think. You know, I would fancy him 23, 24. Not in the next two. So okay, so we're going to take him off the card, off the table for now. But certainly worth, certainly want to have him back. So we can move him. We can move him a little bit down, I think. Now, I'm sure a lot of you will remember, because I was recommending get Bruno in. Once he scores, he's going to start averaging 8 points a game. And I brought him in, got some points, and then yeah, we all know what happened next. Chopped and changed. But his averages will still be, despite, I mean, obviously that was a bad little run there. And that was United really, really poor, and he obviously had his suspension and his -2. But in general terms, 9 9s, 2 9 2 17. Who wouldn't want some of those numbers? So I do want to bring Bruno back. He is Mr. Consistency when he gets going. He will average 8 points a game. What are United's fixtures? Have United turned a corner? I feel like I'm saying they've turned a corner. I said it after City. They didn't. I say it after Liverpool maybe. But Bruno will still return. As I say, we all know he's on the penalties. And if the fixtures are right, and I think we might see that the fixtures are better. Yeah, I mean that's not bad at all, is it? Now, obviously, I haven't got him for Southampton, but that doesn't look bad at all. Brighton, Fulham, Palace at home, Spurs away doesn't frighten me. Everton, yeah, tricky. Ipswich home, then Arsenal home. We'll have a look at that there. But by that time, we're up to game week 28. But even that, we can work. I think we can work through Arsenal at home. So we've got Leicester. Man City at home doesn't frighten. These Bruno. Bruno we're looking at the average, and Bruno, I think that fixture run could easily average 8 points a game. So I think that would be my transfer in next week, or sorry, after the. But that would change, because what I would actually be doing there, I think that would. I don't want a double United midfield. So it does change the dynamic slightly, in that would be, he would come in for Ahmad. We've got enough. Could be tight. Prices are going to change. That's horrible, isn't it? That's horrible. But I'm not taking hits. So, how do we rectify that? Let's have a look. It would have to come out with the defence. Some others, as I say, Castagna, I would easily get there. There's ways around this. Could do Castagna, could do Kirkes. Really want Milenkovic. Well, where's going to get the biggest upside? It is a jigsaw, isn't it? All right, let's have a quick look at these defenders here, and see who would come in, who I could do instead of Milenkovic. I want a Forest defender, I really do. How much is Murillo? There he is. But has Murillo got the... now Murillo's just back, I think he had a little injury. Now, those numbers are not awful, but right, I do like my returns 3 and 5s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and his full 90. It says 1, 2, 3 returns there. What about his 5 prior to that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Maybe it could be a stopgap. I do want Bruno back. Alright. Sorry for your short-lived fame there, Milenkovic. Let's bring this lad in. Oh, look at that. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to deal with price changes over the next few weeks. Do I think Bruno's going to go up? I don't think he is in the next 2 weeks. Could be wrong on that. But at the moment, that gets me where I want to be. I've got a Forest asset in there that will return. Forest keep their run going, and I think the balance there is starting to look a wee bit better. Now, where do I go from there? we need to address the upfront issue. I'll have to have been playing with Isak, Wood and Watkins, and 8.8 8.8 million forward on the bench. Now, as I'm going through this may not be exactly how I do things. It's just trying to give you an idea of where I ideally want to take things. Now, my other two priorities is I want to get rid of Enzo, and I want to, as we get to the point now where I've got 1-2, based on what I just said, probably 2 game weeks to turn him into Mbeumo for the Brentford fixture turn. So, question becomes, I could strip Watkins down to, dare I say it, João Pedro, who is returning, who would sit on my bench. But do I want something a little bit more sexy as something coming off my bench? You know what, I think I do. I think I do. Now, I know I had him before, but he's returning again. And that double Brentford at home, they score goals. And of course they got 5 unusually against what it was Southampton. But you know, was a 11-pointer. Do I want to go back to a double Brentford? It worked really well for me when they were firing. I was, you know, it was absolutely flying for me on those home fixtures, and I just put Wizard on the bench for the away ones. And that was going so well for me some weeks back when the world was rosy. But then there is Mateta. Just having a, and I think it's a fixtures play, and it's not for the next few game weeks because we're now moving into about 2 or 3 game weeks away with my next move, which would bring to strip down Watkins and bring in a Mateta or a Wizard. So let's have a proper look at these forwards. Now, is it actually going to give me the money? 6.2. I'm not sure it would actually. Let's have a quick look at the numbers anyways. And the fixtures more. Yeah, it went through that period of nothing. Is that good enough for me? It's really fixtures driven from about. It would be roughly coming in around here, wouldn't it? Spurs home, no fear there at all. Crystal Palace away, not too bad. But we're probably looking again at that sort of 24 game week period where we'd be sort of thinking we'd want him in, and that is not bad at all, is it? Let's compare that with Mateta. Numbers are not that great, really, are they? Over the last, and he's been playing, you know, 60, 80, 81, 90, 90. I don't know. I'm not being convinced by Palace. I just don't think I want to do it. Those nice fixtures now, but I'm not bringing him in now. It would be around here, I guess, 23, 24, 25-ish. Man United away, Everton home, Fulham away, Aston Villa home, Ipswich home. It's not a bad run of fixtures. I don't know. I think I just prefer Wizard, and he can be coming off my bench. So let's do that. And again, this could all change. Things can happen over the next few weeks that changes all of that. But we get rid of him. Bring him Wizard. And then I think I've got Isak obviously, and a great rotation between Wizard and Wood as required, and sometimes going with a you know, 3-4-3. You know, again, there's options there. Does still have the question though, do I do a complete strip down of Watkins down to a bench fodder and just have loads and loads of lovely money to do whatever I want with? But in my ideal world now, I've got enough money here to go. Just 0.2 short, as I thought. But we've got ways of working around that. Maybe, I guess, there's options. I mean, there's the Wizard question there, but I like that team. I'm sure, you know, there are ways I can get to that reasonably easy, but it would require that extra transfer. You know, I could bring Konza as an example. You know, it just means that extra transfer somewhere without taking hits. But we bring Konza down to I wonder, would Huijsen do it? I like Huijsen. It's another defender that I've mentioned. But it may have gone up in price. I would have. No, I don't think Huijsen's going to do it, is he? No, Huijsen won't do it. Yeah, it's a shame. Same. Yeah, he's gone up in value. That's a shame. All right, it would have to come down to, you know, so I'm not gonna mess around with that. Fundamentally, I could get there. I can just get to a 4.2 defender, but overall, that team looks really good. And as you can see from the way I build into it, the fixtures incrementally are there for all of those players as I move into each of the phases doing these transfers. If I was to do that this week, it would be a 20-point hit. In fact 24, because I would have to strip down excuse me, I'd have to strip down one of the other players. Of course, actually really realizing now as well, of course I've got the Timber option there as well, where I could comfortably do this, because Timber would, you know, Timber is the key, isn't it? You know, if I take Timber out earlier, you know, and turn him into yeah. Yeah, we can actually then turn him back to okay, still sitting at about 20, cost of 20 points there, so it just gives an idea that I can actually move there with basically it's 5 transfers to get to that team, and I like that. It does tempt me into, do I just wildcard and just go there? But no, need the wildcard, because based on this team, you know, there's still things here that need to be thought about. I still need to retain double Liverpool by the time there's going to be that double game week. I need to make sure I have got at least 2 Liverpool assets in there, and I've got Pickford. We ideally do want 3, so there are other things to be thought about here as I phase in these transfers, because we obviously have the it does look as though it's going to be double game week 24 at this stage. I hope it's earlier, because then you know, I can build towards, as I say, this team, post that before it and post it, but still maintain enough Liverpool assets to take advantage of that double game week. Potential to play my assistant manager's chip, so I would want Slot as one of my managers if I do go there. So could be that I just need the 2 Liverpool assets. But on the whole, this is kind of where I think I want to take things. That defence looks good. Got Gabriel. Milenkovic as Hall as my staples. But Heason, which is a really good first off the bench option. That midfield just looks a joy at the moment, and if I'm building into that, that is actually coming into good fixtures runs for the bringing in Mbeumo and Bruno, decent fixtures there, and obviously I think the Wizard Isak Wood thing could work really, really well. Wood's fixture is not too bad after this Liverpool fixture, and some really good options then for Wizard, who is scoring consistently at home still, and is actually now bagging a goal or two away from home. This may not be where I'm going, but it's just an idea as I'm trying to set out this strategy for the next 5 game weeks. I think the key thing to take for the next 5 game week strategy, though, on the 21 to 25, is I'm not taking any hits. I'm not taking any hits. I'm going to manage my way out of this shite I've created for myself. That was a bit of a long waffly one, guys. Maybe there might be some useful stuff for you in there as well. Yeah, I mean, I've got to get back on track. As I say, just a quick reminder of what I said. At the moment, I'm on 1,266 points. That's an average of just over 63, I think. 100k is on 1,310, which is an average of 65. So this is totally retrievable, and it doesn't have to be all retrieved in one go. Just need to do better than I have the last few game weeks, where my averages were a couple of weeks ago was actually up on that 65. I was right on that 100k, right on the cusp of that, just literally a couple of points out, and it's dropped. My averages have dropped by a couple of points per week just in the space of I think three game weeks. Effectively, the last 3 game weeks is where it really has gone off the cliff. So I need to get that back to that 65, 66, 67, ideally hitting the 70s, and claw that back as quickly as I can over the next few game weeks, because it can turn around so quickly. That's it. I'm going to leave it at that. I will come back with the Spreadsheet City at some point before game week 21. You'll have seen my team selection video and my bus team and the transfers that I made, which is building towards what I'm doing now, what I've spoken about in this video. Because my transfer in obviously was Gordon. Was it sensible to do it with 2 games coming up? Maybe, maybe not, but you can see just from what I'm doing there how critical just every dollar is. And I've managed to beat 1 Gordon price rise at least, and there's going to be more coming in the next few game weeks. He will probably play I would imagine he'd play in the Carabao Cup, but Newcastle got a relatively easy FA Cup game, so I do expect he will play limited, if indeed any minutes at all. So hopefully he just has the 1 game and I get away with doing the early transfer. But it's worked kind of well for me doing the early transfers. I've largely gotten away with it across the season. In terms of injuries, it's the one area where I have had luck this year. Not too many injuries and things, especially when I have done early transfers. So fingers crossed that my luck holds on that one. I'll leave it at that. Long, waffly, rambly, but hopefully some good information in there for you, and give you an idea of where I am going to be going over the next 4 or 5 game weeks to try and get things back on track. Enjoy the rest of the week. I'm losing track of it because I'm on a long leave at the moment over the Christmas. I think it's Tuesday in New Zealand. I've lost track completely. Anyway, it's morning here. Hope you all have a great day. It must be evening time in the UK. So yeah, hope you all have a great nice evening and enjoy the rest of your holidays if you're still on holiday. And I'll chat to you all in a few days' time, I'm sure. Take care. Bye bye.